How powerful is Donald Trump still within the Republican Party? We're going to get another answer to that question today, Thursday, December 11th in Indiana. So if you haven't followed this, Indiana is one of a bunch of states that has gone back and forth over redrawing their congressional lines. Right now, there's a 7-2 Republican majority in their congressional delegation. 7 Republicans, 2 Democrats. They have a supermajority in the Republican state Senate. They have a Republican governor. And Donald Trump has been very aggressive in pushing the idea that Indiana needs to redraw its map to get more seats out of the state. The state house has done this. They drew a map and passed it that would create 9 Republican seats and 0 Democratic seats, getting rid of both Frank Mervin, who represents the 1st District, and Andre Carson, who represents currently the sort of Indianapolis-based 2nd District. This is now headed to a vote in the Indiana State Senate. Now, the Indiana State Senate has already once resisted Donald Trump's calls to redraw the state's lines. He has not given up. He and his allies, including Chris LaCivita, who is intimately involved in his 2024 campaign, have spent more than $500,000 on a pressure campaign to try to get Indiana Republican state senators to vote for this plan. Where do we stand? Okay, so there are 40 Republican state senators. 16 are already announced as being for the 9-0 map. 14 are announced as being opposed to the 9-0 map. 10 haven't announced where they're going to go yet. Now, to pass this map, Republicans have to get to 25 votes. So if it's 25-25, there are 10 Democrats, who will vote against this. If it's 25-25, the Republican lieutenant governor, a guy named Micah Beckwith, would break the tie. And he's already said he's in favor of the map. So they need 25 votes. So they have 16. There are 10 undecideds. They need 9 of those 10 undecideds to vote with them later on Thursday to pass this map. And Donald Trump, as I said, not only are they spending money, not only is there a pressure campaign, not only has J.D. Vance, the vice president, gone out to Indiana multiple times to meet with state senators who are wavering about this, Donald Trump unleashed a very long Truth Social post. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would take a day, on Wednesday night, in which he was very blunt about the stakes. Let me read. Trump, quote, anybody that votes against redistricting and the success, that's capitalized, of the Republican Party in D.C. will be, I am sure, met with a MAGA primary in the spring. If Republicans will not do what is necessary to save our country, they will eventually lose everything to Democrats. Rod Bray and his friends won't be in politics for long, and I will do everything within my power to make sure that they will not hurt the Republican Party and our country again. One of my favorite states, Indiana, will be the only state in the union to turn the Republican Party down. Now, Rod Bray is the highest-ranking Republican in the state Senate, and he has been resistant to this plan. But what's clear there, I mean, Trump's not really messing around, right? It's not like it's open for interpretation. If you vote against this, he will actively work to recruit a primary challenger to you next year and try to beat you if you are in the Indiana State Senate. So, look, I've talked and written about this a lot. The defining story of the last 10 years has been Donald Trump's hostile takeover of the Republican Party and the stranglehold with which he has held it since 2016. There have been a few signs, mostly at the federal level, although Indiana's resistance, the state Senate's resistance to passing a map that Donald Trump wants is part of it, that Trump's grip might be slipping somewhat, right? His approval rating among Republicans went from the 90s to the mid-80s, still very high. But this is a test. I think Trump is basically saying either you support me and vote for this, or you don't support me, you vote against it, and I try to beat you. This has worked in the past for him. Time and time again, Donald Trump has said, you do what I want, and if you don't, there will be consequences, and the Republican Party, whether it's at the state level or the national level, has fallen in line. Is this a moment where Republicans resist? Again, out of those 10 undecided Republican state senators, they need 9 of them to vote for this bill to get to a 25-25 tie that the lieutenant governor will break in favor of the new map. So will 9 out of the 10 undecided Indiana Republican state senators fall in line, or will they buck Donald Trump? Again, you only need 2 to vote against it for it to fail. Will they buck Donald Trump and say, we are not doing this, this is not the right time, this mid-decade redistricting is not a good thing for our state? We'll see. If past his prologue, he'll find a way to get it done. If he doesn't, if this fails in the state Senate, it is evidence, I think, that there's a willingness at some level, at least some Republicans, to say, you know what, we're not doing this. I'm not as afraid of Donald Trump as I once was. And even if he beats me in a primary, it's worth it because I don't think this is the right thing, which would be something I think that you could say, okay, maybe this is another piece of that puzzle that the Republican Party is starting to think more seriously about what the post-Trump version of the party looks like. So keep an eye on Indiana today. Big vote, big test for Donald Trump. He has put his credibility and his power on the line. We'll see if he wins. He usually does. One thing you can do for me, hit that subscribe button. You get free content like this every single weekday. I continue to grow as an independent news creator. It's a win-win. Thanks. Take care.